Danganronpa.
Hi, everybody!
We can't keep living like this.
You mean when we have like a half-hour conversation about something completely unrelated, and then I suddenly spring the opening of the show on you?
You didn't even warn me. My body isn't prepared.
It's my favorite part of the show.
The part where everyone is taken off guard.
Yeah, including the co-host.
Actually, it should be only me because presumably people are listening to this on purpose.
Okay, so you're the only one that I'm doing this to.
You're subjecting to your ilk.
Hey, I spring the ending on you just as badly, so.
That's true. I got you last time, though.
You did! Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club, the show where nobody's friends and we're all trying to one-up each other.
And breakfast is not provided.
Yes, I hope you've provided your own breakfast because it is not on the house.
No, I don't eat breakfast, so...
I do. I love breakfast.
I love breakfast, but I can't eat it.
I love cereal.
Oh, I do love cereal. That's not a breakfast food. That's a whenever you feel like it food.
That's true. I do most often have cereal for dessert.
Dessert. That's dinner.
How are you doing? I'm Mike, by the way.
And I am the feeling of being watched that you feel when you're in the shower.
Me?
It's the royal you.
Okay. I mean, I didn't need confirmation. I've known for a while. But it's nice to hear you admit it.
Nobody in court will believe you.
I first suspected when I absent-mindedly asked someone to pass me the soap and a hand just reached out of the wall.
That could have been a Japanese ghost.
Well, same difference, right?
I mean, you would have known for sure it was me if it was a tendril of hair with a mask on it.
Play the intro!
Danganronpa.
We watched Danganronpa this week. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Danganronpa?
Sure. Danganronpa?
I looked it up. I know what it means.
I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
Oh, it means bullet rebuttal. I assumed you would know. So
Bullet rebuttal.
yeah, I was gonna let you tell them, but
I haven't really done like a deep dive into the series because I don't know if you're aware of this, but the series is bananas. Like it contradicts itself at every turn.
Oh, really? I don't know. Literally everything I know about the series is this episode and the research I did about this episode. Well, that's not true. I did do a bunch of... In fact, let me tell you some of the things I know about this series, since that's how the show begins. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc is the first game in the series, and it released in 2010 on the PSP. I did not know that.
Yes, it did. What we have nowadays is a port.
Yes, it's on like pretty much everything now, I think. But
Good. Saturate the market with it.
yeah, saturate the. There's not. It's real big, huh? It's very popular.
Yeah, which is wild because I didn't know anything about it until they paired up with, of all things, Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Oh, did they? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, there's Crypt of the Necrodancer Danganronpa sprites,
Oh,
and
nice.
you can like set the music to Danganronpa music throughout the series. And they were also having a sale at the time, which is how I bought the first two.
Oh, see, I own Crypt of the Necrodancer now on both PC and Switch, but I still haven't played it.
That sounds like a you problem
This
because
sounds
it's a great game.
sounds like generally me all over, doesn't it? I actually meant to buy the Zelda one, and I accidentally
Cadence
bought
of
the original.
Hyrule.
Yeah, and I bought the original one by mistake. So I still don't have the Zelda one, but but I have the original on the Switch.
But I have the original one twice, so I've played it twice as none.
It's a visual novel adventure game. Kind of, from what I can gather, it's pretty similar to Ace Attorney.
Yes, it's very similar, except that the trial section works in like kind of sort of real time. The debate section like is timed and you have to shoot at specific times to rebut. It's wild. It's wild. There's guns in the court.
Interesting. I'm gonna play it. I own. I think I own 3 Danganronpa games. Is that all of them?
Well, there's 3 in the main series, and then there's one spin-off, I think is all that there is.
Okay, so I own the 3 main ones. I have them all on Steam. I just haven't played them yet. I own so many Steam games.
You own too many Steam games. There's no way in hell you're going to play even a fraction of them.
But I'll try. That's why I stream. Most of my streams are just me playing games I've never finished before. So, and occasionally all the
Never
Sonic
even
games
heard
again.
of.
Yep. So, the game's by Spike. I had never heard of Spike before. They are apparently a part of Chunsoft, who I have heard
Yeah,
of.
Spike Chunsoft.
Yeah, well, they merged after this, apparently.
Oh, okay.
They made the first Danganronpa, and then they merged, and then made the other 2.
They were like, "This is genius. We're going to make a baby with you." And
Yeah,
the baby was Danganronpa 2, which is
yes.
very, very good.
But I looked into what else Spike had done. They've done a lot of Dragon Ball games in the late 2000s, and they also localized Bioshock, Dragon Age, and a couple of Tomb Raider games for Japan. But beyond that, I hadn't really heard of anything. It was written by Kazutaka Kodaka, who also worked on Clock Tower 3, which I've heard of.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that too.
Yes.
It's a series I've always meant to get into, but it feels like the play style is a bit dated and hard to pick up.
I really want to play the Super Nintendo one at least. I believe that's the first Clock Tower. I've heard really good things about that as like an early example of horror games.
Like over a decade ago, maybe about a decade ago, I went on this wild goose chase because Jennifer, whom you are familiar with, was talking about this horror game that she had played that had like scarred her because the main character's name was Jennifer and she wore this red dress and she got chased around by this guy with scissors.
The
And
Scissorman!
it's the Scissorman. We spent ages trying to find this game because not all of them star this red dressed Jennifer. And we finally found it. And that was the first time I had ever even heard of Clock Tower.
So which one was that?
I don't remember. That was 10 years ago.
Okay. I don't know which one stars which. I don't know. But the Super Nintendo one I'm really interested in because it's horror games didn't really become a thing until like the PS1 really, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. With the Silent Hills and the Resident Evils.
Yeah, exactly. That's when horror games really kind of hit their thing.
Unless we want to count Super Mario 64 and that piano.
We don't talk about that piano. Did you know there's a mod? There's a mod for N64 Smash Brothers that adds loads of extra characters in, and one of those characters is the piano.
Like you play as the piano?
I think it's a boss.
I want to be the piano.
But it added in like Sonic and stuff. It looks really interesting. I want to try it out. Apparently it's a really good mod. So the writer thought that adventure games were no longer popular at the time, so he wrote a really dark one to generate controversy. Originally the game was named Distrust and was a lot darker than the one that ended up being released.
That sounds like a game that I want to play.
Yeah? Even darker Danganronpa? Because I feel like this one's still pretty dark.
It is still pretty dark. I'm imagining that they just take away a lot of the lighter moments because there's a lot of just hanging out with your classmates where you kind of forget that everyone around you is dying.
Right. Yeah.
Especially in like the later ones, there's a lot of wacky, weird shit.
The research I did, I found that Spike toned it down a lot, but they wanted to preserve the shock value, I guess because they thought that was the major selling point of the game.
Not wrong.
It was originally conceptualized with adult characters, and it was changed to high schoolers because they felt like the immaturity of the characters made the story more believable.
And also because no one cares if it's adults.
That too. And the main themes of the story are hope and despair, which we kind of get mentioned a lot in the show here as well.
Oh, it gets mentioned a lot in the games. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, I read that before I watched the episode, and then I watched the episode and I was like, oh, so it's like it's not subtle about those being the themes.
No, it's a very prominent theme.
Okay. Danganronpa the animation first aired on July 4th, 2013, Independence Day.
God bless America.
But I'm talking about Japan, so
God bless America.
It aired on MBS, the Mainichi Broadcasting System. Never heard of it? It's not TV Tokyo, so...
But they broadcast every day.
I guess they do. It was simulcast by Funimation on their streaming service, and the English version first released on Blu-ray, from what I could tell. And that was like 2 years later. So Funimation broadcast the subtitled version at the same time it was being aired in Japan. And then 2 years later, they dubbed it and released it on Blu-ray.
But with a filthy dub over it.
And that was November 10th, 2015. And the show was made by... Oh my god, I looked up how you pronounce this and I'd completely forgotten now. Lesh?
Wait, what?
The studio. It's called like Lesh or something. I looked up how you pronounce it because it's like a German name. I don't know why, because it's a Japanese studio. But they have a German name.
Lurch.
Lurch.
Lurch, the big guy
Lurch.
from the Addams Family?
No, I don't think that's correct. Well, anyway, it's German for lark. Lurch. I think it's Lurch. Let's just say it's Lurch.
That sounds acceptably German.
It was animated by Lurch, who also made the Assassination Classroom anime.
Oh, I have heard of that, and I've seen that smiling face gawking at me every time I go to the bookstore.
Yep. I guess it's a big deal. I've heard of it too. I think some people in my class were reading it when I was at uni. A decent amount of time ago. God.
Approximately 50 years ago.
It's been longer than I want to admit since
I
uni
know.
ended. Let's talk about this TV show and not the slow passage towards our graves.
It won't be so slow if I have anything to say about it.
I don't know if that was a threat.
I was shaking my fist if that wasn't obvious.
Good. Perfect. So this episode's called Prologue, Welcome to Despair High School.
Which is literally what it's called in the game, the first chapter.
That's okay.
The graphic is the same too.
When you messaged me before about this, after watching it, you implied that this was another Phoenix Wright situation.
Yes, but I would say almost even more so because it's very much just an animated version of the beginning of the game. They take a lot of the same scenes and just reanimate them.
I did notice
of the characters have the same static animations.
So all I've really seen of the game is I've seen some of the execution cutscenes. And
so all the spoilers.
Well, I don't remember. The thing is, I don't remember them, and also, even at the time, like, I didn't know who any of the characters were, so without the context, I didn't really understand. I wouldn't remember who any of the people being executed were, because I didn't know who they were.
I feel like you might be able to guess the first one, at least.
The first one I know, yeah, okay. But beyond that... But the show opens with what... I guess it's the... Is it the opening to the game?
It is the opening to the game, and technically the first execution, but you don't find out who or why until much later into the game.
Okay, so I noticed, because I've seen that execution before, I noticed immediately that it's basically exactly the same almost.
Yes.
The characters in it have been redrawn and are more animated than they were in the game, but the 3D parts I think are actually reused completely.
Yeah, I think so.
I even went back and watched the game one again to check. And yeah, Monokuma is redrawn, and the guy in the chair is redrawn at the beginning, but not when the rocket doors close on him. But not when
he's a skeleton.
And not when he's the skeleton, yeah. But yeah, I think they literally just took the cutscene and drew some new characters over the top of it.
That happens a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, especially the scene. There's a couple scenes that take place in the gym that I'm like, this is just the scene of them in the game because I saw it so many times in the game.
So what, you mean like the backgrounds are reused, or?
I mean, like, literally the scenes.
Oh.
Like the scene where Monokuma is first introduced and it's like behind everybody and it zooms up to the front of the classroom. That's just from the game.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't played the game yet, but when I do, I'm going to be looking out for this stuff. I mean, I'll say it now. I'll be playing this game. If you're listening to this episode as it comes out, I'll be playing this game this Wednesday on my Twitch channel at Skull Pirate Mike on Twitch. And I'll be looking at this stuff, so...
Are you going to do all the voices?
I'll try. I might see if I can get someone to come in with me and do some... But do you want to come in with me and do some voices?
Maybe I will, Millhouse. Who do I get to be?
Whoever you want.
Who do I get to be?
Everybody. You can be everybody except for Sakura.
No, I wouldn't do her justice.
I don't think anybody could do her justice. We'll get to that, though. We get an introduction to this high school for special kids. Did I word that badly?
No, it just sounded funny. And then I was immediately like, oh, Special Boy High School.
That's what it is. We're told that everybody else there is selected to be students for their talent, but Makoto here, our main character, got in through a lottery.
So he's referred to as the ultimate lucky student because he got in by lottery.
Yes. I'm going to talk a bit about his voice now.
Please, do.
When you played the game, did you play with the English voices or the Japanese voices?
English.
Okay. So, the Japanese version of the show reuses the entire cast from the game.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Which you would expect in Japan, really. They basically always do that. In the English version, the only actor who is in both the show and the game, is Makoto's.
Good for Makoto.
Everybody else has a new voice. But Makoto here, Makoto Naegi. There we go. Thank you, Mel. is the only actor who is reprising his role from the game. In the Japanese version, which is the version we watched, should say that. I have to remember to say that every time we do an anime. When we do an anime, we watch the Japanese version, but I also compare to the English version to see if there are any differences. So, in the Japanese version that we watched, Makoto is played by Megumi Ogata, who is known for a lot of things, actually. She played Sailor Uranus in Sailor Moon.
Nice.
She played Shinji in Evangelion.
Oh, okay.
She played both Yukito and Yue in Card Captors. Do you remember who they were?
I don't, but it just makes me want to watch Card Captors.
I didn't remember either, so I had to look it up. Yukito was Sakura's brother's friend, who turned out to be a human alter ego of one of the Guardians of the Cloud cards, which was Yue. So,
gotcha.
That's who she played. And she was also the voice of Yugi in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Hell yeah, my man Yugi.
So that's a pretty good lineup of voices. There's a strong...
Yeah.
And this is a common thread for this show, I will say up front. The Japanese version, absolutely phenomenal casting. Almost everybody has done something interesting for me to talk about here.
But English?
But the English cast is just Funimation voices.
I'm wondering what kind of contract the English Makoto voice actor was under to be in both the show and to come back in Danganronpa 2 as a different character.
He's the only one. He's the only one who's not just a Funimation voice. He's actually done a bunch of other stuff too that I have to talk about. Because everybody else, whenever we talk about an anime dub, on this show, I get so frustrated researching the voice actors because all these anime dub companies, they don't do casting. They just have their little stable of voice actors and then they say, which one of you wants to do this voice? So we end up with an entire cast of characters who all worked on the same 4 shows. And this show in particular has a really big cast.
Yep.
But let's talk about Bryce Papenbrook, the English voice of Makoto. Because he's got some interesting ones. He had a bunch that I knew.
And his last name is Papenbrook.
Yeah, I don't know if I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. But I pronounced it the way that was funniest to me. He played Shugo in .hack / Legend of the Twilight. Which I know you don't know, but I know it.
I know you do. I know how much you talk about that show in your sleep.
It's good. We might do it for this show. I haven't decided if it counts yet.
Which came first, the video game or the cartoon?
They both came at the same time, so...
Oh no!
Yeah, so does it count or not? I don't know. We'll see. He also plays Kirito, the protagonist of Sword Art Online. I've never watched it, but I know it's a name.
I've heard it once or twice.
He played Red in Pokemon Origins.
He had a voice?
Yeah, only in Pokemon Origins.
Wow.
But, and it was this dude. He played Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan. I believe that's the main character. He played Cat Noir in Miraculous Ladybug. I've only ever seen one episode of Miraculous Ladybug, but people in my class were crazy for it at uni.
I don't know the first thing about it, but I have seen it everywhere.
From what I understand, it's very cute and everybody really loved it and then became highly disappointed in it.
It lived long enough to see itself become the monster.
Yes, I've gathered from the people I know who loved it, I've gathered that the issue with it is that it's one of those shows that's afraid to change the status quo in any way.
Oh, it's afraid to be gay?
Well, lots of things it's afraid to do. But it's just kind of stagnated, I think, because they're afraid to change up anything, so everything always returns to normal at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Which isn't so good when a show's been running for as long as that has. That show must have been going for nearly 10 years now.
Just kill off your characters.
Ladybugs don't live that long.
She's not that miraculous.
He's also the voice of the male player character in Xenoblade Chronicles X. I have played that game. I don't think that the player characters actually have lines. I think it's just grunts. So
that's kind of what I assumed.
Yeah.
Some notable grunts.
He's also the current voice of Silver the Hedgehog.
Oh no! Why does everything always come back to Sonic?
Because it's my podcast, Mel.
That's a great point. These roles are biased.
I mean, yeah, if somebody else was researching these characters, like if there was a big anime fan researching these roles, they'd probably be like, whoa, he played Sloopin' Bloopin' in My Sister the Robot. But I look at these show names and I'm like, I don't know what any of these are. Oh, look, Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm sorry. The voice of Makoto is Sloopin' Bloopin'? Why did you not put that in there? That's like his biggest role.
I'm sitting on a Sloopin' Bloopin' body pillow right now.
I'm in a Sloopin' Bloopin' Kigurumi.
So Makoto steps onto the school grounds.
After being on a message board talking about Hope's Peak Academy, which is exactly how the game starts.
Oh, it's cool. I didn't even take in that it's called Hope's Peak Academy. They really weren't subtle with this.
I told you, it's not subtle. Very prominent messaging.
Yeah, so he just passes out.
Yeah.
As soon as he steps onto the school ground. I don't think we're ever told why.
Not in episode 1. You find out much later.
Okay. All right. So there is a reason.
Yes. Everything comes together.
Okay. And then we just see a giant vault door.
That is the exit to the school.
Yes.
Exit/entrance.
That did get shown later. So I knew that much. I love how the subtitles here are like, as he's passing out, he's like, I should have caught on then and there. And I was like, you didn't?
It's a long story, Mike. I want to take this moment to point out that all of the music is just the video game music.
Oh, is it really?
Yep.
That honestly, though, if I was a fan of the game, that would make me happy.
I loved it. I was like, it's the happy school life music.
Good.
It brought me right back to the good old times before all my friends died.
I really liked the Vegas-style sign on the title card.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that.
The title cards are some of the weirdest things I've witnessed because the names of the chapters make no sense.
So, is this title card also in the game?
Yes.
Exactly as it was in this?
I believe it is.
Wow, this really is just for people who don't want to play the game, huh?
Basically, or for people who just really want to relive the experience.
I guess.
But don't want to put in 40 hours of work.
He wakes up in an empty classroom with cameras everywhere and steel plates on the windows.
Yep. Just like a video game.
I couldn't help thinking, wouldn't you be able to see these steel plates from outside?
You need to play the game, I think.
Is that because it's explained in the game, or is that because that I wouldn't have thought that in the game? Because I did.
Explained in the game.
Oh, okay. I did think at the time, like, that's something I probably wouldn't even think about in the game. Because there's a lot of things like that in Phoenix Wright where when you're playing the game, you don't think as much about a lot of things, but then when you see a fully animated version of this area, you're like, hang on a minute.
Would it be of interest that the Danganronpa 3 is kind of like standalone is not the word I'm looking for, but it bridges the gap between games. Like it's not of the game,
Oh,
but
you mean the
is
show
of the
or
game. Yeah.
right?
Oh yes. The game is called V3 so that it can't be confused with Danganronpa 3, which is the show.
Right. Okay. Because I did also see that there seems to be a Danganronpa 2.5 anime as well, but that seems to be like an OVA rather than a series.
Mm-hmm. I'm not familiar with that one.
I couldn't find it. It doesn't seem to be on anything. I think it might have just been released as a DVD or... Oh no, I think it came with one of the games or something. I don't know. I'd have to look into it again. I didn't take notes about it because it's not this. So he finds a handwritten welcome note.
Yes, a very cute welcome note.
Yes, telling him to go to the gym at 8.
I can't remember. I mean, that obviously had to happen because this is just the game, but I just don't remember that part.
Well, it's already...
I remember wandering to the gym.
It's already 8 and he doesn't know where the gym is. And he doesn't seem to be in any rush to get there.
I mean, would you be? I wouldn't. I'm in a classroom with steel things all over the windows and surveillance cameras.
That's true.
And he steps out into the hallway and it's a wacky nightmare.
Yeah,
By that I
everything's
just mean the
dark.
color scheme.
All the lights are off.
But that's also just the color scheme of the games, which the color scheme in the games is so weird and I love it.
Good. I like a weird color scheme.
You're gonna have to get to Danganronpa 2 then, because there's one place that's just a color nightmare.
Color Nightmare. That's my superhero name.
Well, now that everybody knows your secret identity.
I'm stalling because this is where we are introduced to everybody.
Yeah. You're introduced to everybody, and yet nothing really happens.
Yes, he walks into the gym and everybody's standing there, and then it's one of those moments where every character has like one line and then a profile for them flashes on screen for a couple seconds for you to read, and then it moves on to the next character who has one line and then a profile shows up for them. But there are so many characters that it's just endless.
Which is how it plays out in the game too, except you have to go and manually talk to every character. So you walk in, you're like, oh my god, I have to speak to all these people? I just want to play the video game.
So I'm going to go through them all now and talk about their voice actors in the order that they're introduced.
Oh boy.
And if you have anything to say about this character, feel free to interrupt me. So, I'm going to start with Yasuhiro Hagakure, who is a super high school level fortune teller, according to his profile.
Hiro is nutso. I love him.
I couldn't help thinking, fortune teller? Okay, all right. That's a talent.
Some of the things,
yes, I've got
real creative.
I've got some things to say about some of them, but fortune teller, I was like, all right, okay, I get it. If he's really good, if he's really good at fortune telling, like if he's always accurate in his predictions, then I understand that he might get into this special high school for this. But we find out later that his predictions are only 30% correct.
Yep, so, he is very open about the fact that he is usually wrong.
So I'm like, why is he here?
I'm pretty sure in the game somebody even points out that that's worse odds than just picking one thing at random.
Yeah. Because you'd think you'd have a 50-50 shot.
Nope, not with Hiro on the case.
He is played by Masaya Matsukaze, who I knew as I've got a few here. Like I said, some of this cast I'm very excited about. But he played Morty in Pokemon.
Okay.
Everybody loves Morty.
Yeah, I do love Morty. He's the ghost boy.
Yeah. He plays Teru Mikami in Death Note. I don't know Death Note, but
I fell asleep watching that series.
sweet! So we're in the same boat, except I know even less. He was Proto Man in Mega Man Battle Network.
Cool.
And here's the one I'm most excited about. He is the voice of my boy, Ryo Hazuki, in Shenmue.
Now, was the Japanese voice acting as bad as the English voice acting?
No. So, here's the thing, right? There are two ways to experience Shenmue.
Experience.
Yes, if you want Shenmue to be a serious, well-produced experience, the Japanese version is for you. If you want Shenmue to be a corny, basically a parody of like old kung fu movie dubs, you want the English version. And
I want the English version.
I love both versions, but I love that division exists, and it's on purpose as well. It's not an accident, because there are some very, very good actors in the English version of Shenmue doing a deliberately poor job.
Given their lines piece by piece.
Yes, and the director of Shenmue has said that since Shenmue itself is an homage to old kung fu movies from the 80s, he wanted the dub to reflect that.
That's hilarious.
It's fantastic. And that's why I get annoyed when people give Shenmue a hard time for that, because it's on purpose.
Who doesn't love bad voice acting?
Yeah, it's not. It didn't happen by accident. They designed it that way on purpose. Anyway, he's, by the way, he's Ryo in everything, the games and the anime. He's always been Ryo, and he will always be Ryo.
He will die, Ryo.
In English, he's played by Christopher Bevins, who has played many, many Dragon Ball voices, but not important characters. He's both Koga and Bryson in Pokemon Masters, so that was interesting. And he's also Dalsim in Street Fighter.
I love that for him.
Our next character is Hifumi Yamada.
Oh yeah, Hifumi.
The fanzine artist.
Yes. What was he called in the game? It was worded slightly differently, I think.
I did think it was strange wording.
Because in Japanese, I'm sure it's something like Doujin artist, which doesn't have a direct English translation.
Yeah, no. But I probably would have just, made it comic artist rather than fanzine artist. Because that's what, Doujin are those short comedy comics, right?
Well, it's any comic created by a fan.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Doujin just means that it's, indie.
Okay.
And, throughout, it does talk about, more specifically about the medium that he does create comics and stuff. But it is weird that they chose whatever they did for his title.
Yeah, doujinshi, also romanized, is the Japanese term for self-published print works, such as magazines, manga, and novels. So maybe fanzine is a good translation for it then. Oh well, anyway.
Yes. It's not bad, but it's one of those things that because it doesn't have a direct translation, you really can't get good.
Yes. You're never going to fully understand what's conveyed by it.
Right. If they really wanted to convey it, they would have kept it Doujin artist.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, most people watching this on Funimation.com probably know what that means anyway.
Very true. Sakura, the star and hero of this video game, who I love very much, in the English version of the game, one of her nicknames is Ogre, and I'm like, I'm sure it's Oni in Japanese, but they were like, these people don't know what an Oni is.
Yeah. we know what Oni are. It's been like 20 years since anime became big over here. We all know.
And we know you're there.
I did really enjoy that. I'm going off topic again here, but having grown up in the era where they would constantly pretend that Japan doesn't exist in anime dubs, I really enjoyed how much Yokai Watch was just unapologetically set in Japan. And really just like everything. They gave us Oni, they gave us Yokai. They gave us Yokai! It's called Yokai Watch.
Which is wild because that game came out like forever ago, but also not that long ago. So the thing that like that's the thing that opened your eyes. I'm like, my
No. I'm not saying it opened my eyes. I'm saying it's the first time I really saw a translated version of one of these games that wasn't trying to cover up the Japaneseness of it.
Because it's literally impossible.
Yeah. But I mean, it's impossible with Digimon too, but they still tried. Anyway, Hifumi is played by Kappei Yamaguchi, a name we've heard last week, actually.
Oh, who is he?
Light from Twinbee Paradise. We talked a lot about him last week, so if you want to know a lot more about Kappei Yamaguchi, you can go ahead and watch our Twinbee Paradise episode. But to recap a couple of his roles, he was also Inuyasha, he was Usopp from One Piece, and he was L from Death Note. The English voice of Hifumi is Tyson Reinhardt, who did a lot of additional voices and things from Funimation.
It's just another one of those fun boys.
He is apparently not notable enough to have a Wikipedia article.
Wah wah.
But he did play Ranga in That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. And he played Hugo in Attack on Titan. If you know who those are, good for you.
And if you know who those are, is the one about the slime good? Because it sounds funny.
Yeah, I keep hearing about it. I literally heard about it earlier today. So
I'm pretty sure I've run into the manga in the wild, and I was like, "That's a funny title," and then I didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. Maybe I should watch it. Kiyotaka Ishimaru, who is a hall monitor. Is that a talent?
No. In the game, it was something even weirder. Like, I tried to look it up the other day. I was like, was it this? Because that doesn't sound correct either. Like, they called him the ultimate moral compass. So he's just your lawful good paladin.
Okay. So he's there because he's straight-laced.
Kind of.
He's the world's most straight-laced boy.
I will give Taka credit in that he starts off seeming like the worst and most annoying character, but as you go through like the optional friendship, spending time with people things, he does open up and he's a pretty interesting character.
Okay, interesting. Well, that's good. He's played by Kosuke Toriumi. Here's some good... Again, this is the Japanese voice, so we've got some interesting stuff to talk about here. For example, he's the voice of Little Mac. You know, the Punch-Out boy.
The Punch Boy!
It's him.
I think we used to call him Small McDonald whenever we would play Smash.
He's also... I don't know if this name is pronounced Ryan or Raihan, but he's that guy from Pokemon.
I was gonna ask you how that was pronounced too, because it befuddles and confounds me.
Yes, I always read it as Raihan, but I think it might be supposed to be Ryan.
That makes
spelled
sense.
Really badly. Sorry if your name is Ryan and you spell it that way, but it's weird.
It's not what I'm used to and I'm scared of it.
He also played Phoenix Wright, but only in the Marvel vs. Capcom game.
Okay.
And he's Nash in Street Fighter.
Cool.
I think Nash is Guile's friend who went missing. And in English, he's played by Austin Tyndall.
Tyndall. What a precious little name.
He also just has kind of general Funimation credits. But he's playing Ryo in the English version of the Shenmue anime.
You don't sound excited about that.
No, I was disappointed because they didn't bring in the English game voice.
I mean, fair.
It's not Ryo. It's not Ryo. I'm sorry. That's why I'm watching the Shenmue anime in Japanese.
So you could pretend it isn't real.
No, it is real, but it's the other version. They're not translating it as a comedy. They're translating it accurately.
Oh, so it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it's not Shenmue.
Gotcha.
Okay, who's next? We got Junko Enoshima.
I have cosplayed her.
Yes, I know you have. I know that about you. She's the fashion diva, which makes more sense than hall monitor for, being invited to be in this school.
I guess. But when you think about it, is that a talent?
Well, I took it as like she was a fashion designer. Was I wrong? Does she just own clothes?
I think she just wears clothes.
Okay.
I don't think it's ever alluded to that she's the one that designs them. She is shown like on magazine covers and stuff.
Well,
so I assume that she was just she's a model essentially.
Right, okay. I can still buy that as being more of a reason to get accepted into this school than being a hall monitor. She is played by Megumi Toyoguchi. Get ready, because she is Dawn from Pokemon.
Whoa.
Yeah, she was in that anime for many years. Diamond and Pearl's my favorite series of Pokemon, and she was the main girl in it, so... She was also Aqua in Kingdom Hearts. She was Winry in Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
She's the girl who owned Biju in Hamtaro. And she was Mimiru in Dot Hack. That was the female lead of Dot Hack Sign.
Gotcha.
In English, she's played by Jamie Marchi, who played Miss Valentine in One Piece, Panty in Panty and Stocking, and she played Liara in Mass Effect, but only in a short film, not in the game.
I was about to be very confused.
Yes, because you know who plays Liara and it's not this lady. Yeah, I know. And she also played Ellie in Borderlands. I could not remember who Ellie was.
Ellie is Scooter's sister. She's the one that runs the junkyard in the desert in the second game.
Oh, okay. I think I know. Right, okay. Yes.
I like her.
Yeah, she was cool. I liked her, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. There we go. There's a good Funimation credit. I had some interesting things to say about. Thank you, Jamie.
For spicing up the dull salad of Funimation.
There are a couple of English voices that I do have some things to say about, so just not many. Next is Chihiro Fujisaki, the programmer. She's pretty cool.
I like her. She's adorable.
I understand programmer is something that would get you into a special school. That makes sense.
Yeah.
She is played by Koki Miyata, who I knew as Demi Devimon from Digimon. One of my favorites.
As we all did.
Demi Devimon's one of my favorite characters, actually. He's just a little devil guy. Do you know what he looks like?
I'm sure you've sent it to me before in one of our many talks where you tell me about how much Satan is in Digimon.
Yes, he is one of the many Satan. He's the baby Satan. He's
the mini Satan.
Yeah, he's the unevolved form of Devimon, the original Digimon Satan.
Yeah, I'm sure you've sent me that before.
He's cute. I like him. He's a bad guy.
He's cute.
He's a rude little dude.
You can tell he's a bad guy because he has a skull.
Yes, he doesn't actually... I don't think he ever actually fights the kids, but he spends a decent chunk of the show turning them all against each other behind their backs.
What a little shit.
Yeah, it really is. She also played Jiro in Blue Dragon. That was the smart boy. He had a big old ox shadow, I think. Blue Dragon's really... Did you play Blue Dragon?
Mm-mm.
It's very good. I liked it a lot. She's also been in a bunch of Japanese dub versions of things.
Like what?
She is Grumpy Bear from Care Bears. She is Phineas in Phineas and Ferb. And she's Beast Boy in Teen Titans. And I knew when I mentioned that someone somewhere would be like, which Teen Titans? Do you mean Teen Titans or do you mean Teen Titans Go? So I went to the extra effort of checking. But it turns out she was both.
I knew it. I knew that was coming.
And in English, Chihiro is played by Kara Edwards, who is Goten from Dragon Ball. I think Goten is Gohan's son, maybe?
You've lost me.
So Gohan is Goku's son.
Yes.
And I think Goten is Gohan's son from the future. No? I'm wrong. Oh, Goten is also Goku's son.
Okay.
I didn't know Goku had two sons.
Neither did I.
They both look exactly like him. How do you tell them apart? Anyway, she plays Goten. I've only ever seen one episode of Dragon Ball, and it was the first episode of Dragon Ball Z. So I know the characters from the first episode of Dragon Ball Z, and I've read the first 3 volumes of the original Dragon Ball manga, and that's my entire experience with Dragon Ball.
That's more than me. I've watched a handful of scattered episodes as they showed on Toonami.
That's still more episodes than I've seen one.
I don't know that it... Oh, I guess technically, yeah. Even if the episodes that I watched were all just people powering up to be more powerful in a different episode that I didn't see.
I think that's most of what the show was. Oh, who's next? Celestia Ludenberg. Oh, I guess she's the one person in the school who's not Japanese, huh? I didn't take that in when I watched it.
Incorrect.
Oh, okay. Well.
It is a fake name.
Oh. Okay. Well, she's a gambler. Another thing where I'm like, really? You're just gonna bring someone into the special school for being a gambler?
But she wins at everything. She's
true.
Loaded.
That's true. She has a step up from Hero on that.
Yeah.
With his 30% accuracy.
So I can't remember if it's mentioned in the first game or in the second, but they actually do consider Ultimate Lucky Student a talent, and like they're actually trying to investigate luck and what makes people lucky.
Oh.
So I wonder if it's something like that.
Yeah, okay. That would probably explain her presence, and also possibly Hero's presence. Maybe
Hero's fantastic. Don't talk shit about Hero.
Oh no, I'm not talking shit about him, but I mean if he's like considered really unlucky, maybe that's why they brought him in.
Maybe.
This is another one. Celestia is another one that we talked about last week.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning her.
Her voice actress in Japan is Hekiru Shina, who played Pastel in Twinbee Paradise.
Hell yeah.
So again, if you want to know more about this voice actor, please go back and watch the Twinbee Paradise episode. I don't want to reiterate too much, but I will say that she was also the voice of classic Mega Man. In English, she's played by Lindsay Seidel? I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it's one of those, probably. She plays Maya in the Ace Attorney anime dub.
Cute.
Yeah. That's all I wrote down about her, so there probably wasn't much else.
Good job.
Mondo Owada.
Mondo and his brother Daya.
What?
They're Daya and Mondo.
Is that real, or are you...
That's real. And they're in a biker gang.
Okay.
I forget the name of their biker gang group, though.
Okay. I didn't know any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's why he's called Mondo, because it...
It's part of the word diamond.
I thought it was just because it's like an 80s cool word.
Maybe that has something to do with it, but he pairs together with his brother to create a Dexter family fighting robot.
Well, yes, he's a biker, and that's the virtue on which he got into this school.
For being a delinquent.
He is played by Kazuya Nakai, who, from looking through his cast list, the first thing that stood out to me was that he was Waka in Final Fantasy X. And he also played Gaomon in Digimon Savers. Gaomon is... I'm gonna double check. But if Galmon's the one I think it is, I really like it. It's like a little dog. It's a blue puppy with boxing gloves on. Yep, it is. It's him.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm into this idea.
Yeah, he is a blue puppy with boxing gloves and a bandana. I'm going to send you a picture of him.
Please do.
I had one in the last Digimon game I played, and
I love him.
So much. Yeah, it's like a little blue Shiba Inu with boxing gloves.
Riolu.
Riolu wishes it was this cool.
How dare you? I love Riolu.
I love Riolu too, but he's not wearing boxing gloves.
The boxing gloves are inside.
The boxing gloves are in his heart.
Exactly.
Oh, the English voice. Now, this is probably the biggest name of all the English voices here. Mondo is played by Christopher Sabat. I think that's pronounced correctly. He is best known for being the voices of Vegeta, Piccolo, and Yamcha in Dragon Ball.
Wow.
3 major villains who became friends of Goku.
I mean, if you can't turn your villains into friends, do you even belong in a shonen anime?
That's probably my favorite trope of shonen animes. People keep complaining about Sonic doing that because so many Sonic things have the villain to friend thing going on, and I'm like, no, I love that. It's great.
More friends, less villains.
Yeah. I love that they'll introduce a character as a villain in one game, and then in the next game you can play as him. It's fantastic.
And then in the next game his head is unbonked and he's not crazy anymore.
Twinbee. But yes, Christopher Sabat is also Armstrong in Full Metal Alchemist.
I know that one. He's the one with the strong arms.
He is. I haven't actually seen Full Metal Alchemist, but I know that guy from his displays of emotion. He also plays All Might in My Hero Academia. That's the guy who's drawn in a different art style. He's like the main hero of the world, and yeah, he's in a different art style. I think in the manga they even, when he shows up, they even point out that he's drawn in a different art style. They break the fourth wall to say it.
I love that for him.
He was also Rundus in Metroid. I remember Rundus because he's the reason I stopped playing Metroid Prime 3.
Why is that?
So, Metroid Prime 3, at the beginning of the game, you meet all these other bounty hunters who've been hired along with you to help you investigate whatever's going on. And my first thought was, these guys are really cool. I hope they didn't introduce them just to make them all turn evil and me have to fight them. And then that's what they did.
Oh no.
And Rundus was the first one. And I remember I went to this place to explore with him. And I got to a certain point. We both split up to explore separately. And then I got to a point and I saw him in the distance standing on a cliff. And I was like, it's my buddy Rundus. What are you
Heroes
doing,
don't
Rundus?
do that, Mike. Heroes don't do that.
And then he just started shooting at me. And I was like, oh, great.
If you ever see me standing dramatically on a cliff looking down at you, just run.
Das? Sorry. You need to keep talking to me, though, for the show.
No, I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm hanging up the phone. That one was too dumb.
He also played Sledge in Borderlands.
I don't remember who that is.
No, I recognize the name. I think it's an enemy that you fight at some point. Let me look it up. God, my mushmouth fingers. Hang on, I'm gonna paste to you exactly what I typed into Google there.
Landis Sledge.
Okay, Sledge is this dude.
Oh, okay. I think I remember.
Leader of the Badlands. Leader of the bandits in the arid Badlands.
The Badland Bandits.
He's the primary antagonist for a series of missions that bar access to the Dal Headlands, and his death is one of the last tasks undertaken in the arid Badlands. That's in Borderlands 1. I think arid Badlands is like the first area, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay. So he's like the first boss, basically. Anyway, let's stop talking about Sledge. Are we halfway through yet?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yes, Leon Huata, the baseball player. Again, this is another one where I'm like, okay, baseball player, yeah, people often get into schools on sports merits. I can see that.
Yeah. But he doesn't want to be a baseball player anymore. He wants to be in a rock band. That's why he looks like a punk.
Makes sense.
But I don't think he's very good at music.
Here's another really long and interesting cast list for this actor. Leon is played by Takahiro Sakurai, who is known for X in the Mega Man X series. He is the voice of Cloud Strife, the Final Fantasy character.
Need we say more?
He has always been the voice of Cloud. I was specifically, because the first one that came up was Smash Brothers. And I was like, okay, which specific games, though, did he play Cloud in? And it turns out it's every time Cloud has had a voice, this is him.
He just is Cloud.
He was credited as Sandshrew in Pokemon.
Now that's his biggest role.
Here's one that excited me. He is Tentomon in Digimon. Tentomon is the little bug guy. In the Japanese version, he speaks with a Kansai dialect. And Are
you asking me for clarification?
No, I figured that if I said it wrong, you would have corrected me.
I mean, I would assume it's Kansai, but
okay.
If you're gonna say Kansai, I guess we can let it slide.
All right, fine. He's cool anyway. He was the smart kid's Digimon.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that recently.
I'm always talking about Digimon recently.
That's very true.
He played Leon in Pokemon Twilight Wings, which I haven't watched, but I've heard is very good.
He's been 2 Leons?
Yep. Do you think he's typecast as Leon? He's also Lan Di, the main villain of Shenmue.
Oh no, it's coming full circle.
So we've got 2 Shenzmu in here. He's also the Japanese voice of Detective Pikachu.
I'm still mad that that's not Danny DeVito in both languages.
I would have way preferred it to be Danny DeVito in the movie. Ryan Reynolds did fine, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, his acting was fine, but he's not Danny DeVito.
No, and he didn't even try to be. In English, Leon's played by Justin Cook, who is Raditz in Dragon Ball. I know who Raditz is because he was in the one episode I've seen. It was the episode where Raditz comes to Earth.
Whoa!
And then they fight, and then Gohan busts out of a capsule, and it's cool.
Like a gacha?
I guess. That's all I remember. The only shot I remember is it like shows him breaking out of it and leaping high into the sky from several different angles. That's all I remember. Stuck with me. It was good.
It really shaped who you are as an adult.
Who's next?
Sakura.
No, you missed one. Aoi Asahina.
Oh, that's right.
The swimmer, whose name means blue.
Her. She's very cute.
Yeah, I liked her. Well, I haven't seen much of her, but she's pretty cool. She is played by Chiwa Saito, who played...
I know that name.
Yeah. Well, are you ready for some of these?
Is she a madoka?
That didn't come up in my research, but a lot of things that you're familiar with did. So let me see how many of these ring any bells for you. She is Maria Renard in Castlevania.
Yep.
She is Frey in Rune Factory 4.
Oh, yep.
She is Toko in Akiba Strip.
Yes.
And she is also... These ones you'll be less familiar with, but she's the Japanese voices of Oriana in League of Legends and Sombra in Overwatch.
Yeah, I don't know those ones.
No, but you knew the other three.
I did know the other three because you specifically picked them for me to know.
I sure did.
Well, now I could have sworn she was a madoka.
Maybe she is, but it
she
just
is.
didn't... Oh, who is she?
I just put her into the Google first just to see. So it's not telling me who she was in it, but there is a picture. There's a picture. I'm going to her IMDb page. I knew it. She's Homura.
Okay, which one's that?
She's the one with the long black hair.
Aoi's English voice is Felicia Angel. She plays Toru, the Invisible Girl from My Hero Academia, and Perona in One Piece. And again, just many Funimation voices. I'm telling you, man, it's so much more interesting to talk about the Japanese actors. And it's not that the English actors are bad or anything. It's just that they've all been in the same shows.
Yep, over and over and over again.
Who's next? Oh, now we're at Sakura. Sakura Ogami.
Sakura.
The grappler.
I love her. I think she's just known as the ultimate martial artist in the game.
Okay.
It isn't as specific as a grappler.
She's cool. I liked her.
I love Sakura.
In Japanese, she is played by Kujira. That's the whole name that's given, just Kujira. I actually was familiar with her already because she played Ella in Sonic X. That is Chris's housekeeper.
Oh, okay. That character we all know and love.
Yeah. She also played Orochimaru in Naruto.
That is not a name I was expecting to hear, but here it is.
She's also the Japanese dub voices of Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Also the English dub voice of Mrs. Bighead from Rocko's Modern Life.
I love it.
Rachel Robinson is the English voice. Again, a lot of just kind of general Funimation credits, but she did play Goshia in Xenoblade X. I believe that's how you pronounce it. She was a weird squid head lady. I remember her.
Cool.
I think that the Japanese voice does a much better job of a kind of non-feminine voice, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, since she's not the same voice in the anime in the game, I cannot weigh in on that. I thought that her game voice was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know what the game voice is like, but she just sounds like a regular woman in the...
Oh, no, in the game it's very gravelly.
Okay, yeah, it's not gravelly. She just sounds like it's a little bit of a deep voice, lady voice, but it's just a lady voice.
I suggest that first we assess our situation.
Who's next? Toko Toko Fukawa, the literary girl.
Yeah, she's just a writer in the game.
I figured as much. Miyuki Sawashiro is her Japanese voice. She is known as Fujiko in Lupin the Third.
Lupin.
What? Lupin.
Lupin the Third.
She's Cammy in Street Fighter. She's Robin from Fire Emblem. You know, the magical.
Oh, I know the magical. I know the magical.
She is Cerisa in Bayonetta. Is that how you pronounce it? It's been too long since I played it.
Ceresa?
Ceresa. There we go. You played it recently.
I forgot to finish beating that.
Yeah, you need to do that. You've put yourself in the same situation you were last time.
Yeah, but Rune Factory's coming out.
She is the Japanese voice of Squiggly in Skullgirls.
Oh, okay.
Remember Squiggly?
I do remember Squiggly. She was the opera singer, right?
Was she?
Yeah.
I don't remember anymore.
You remember Squiggly? Please tell me you do, because I don't.
I remember Peacock. Which one was Squiggly?
She had like the little bone dragon looking thing coming out of her head.
Oh yeah, that one's Squiggly. Was she an opera singer? I don't remember that part.
I'm pretty sure she did some kind of singing.
I believe you, I just don't remember. I remember Big Band. That was his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
I'm just waiting to see where else this goes.
I'm just saying, just listing names I remember now. And she's also the Japanese voice of Flame Princess from Adventure Time.
Cool.
Toko is played in English by Carly Mosier. Mosier. I don't know.
Sorry about it.
The only thing I could find about her that seemed interesting was that she played Daisy 0123 in Halo Legends.
I don't know what that is.
I guess it's another Master Chief, because there's a number after the name.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Halo! Joe would know. Joe likes Halo. I like Halo, I just don't care about it. You know? You know the distinction between liking something and caring about it?
Yeah.
That's me. Who's next? Byakuya. Did I pronounce that good?
Byakuya.
Byakuya Togami. He is an heir.
Yep.
Proving that even in this special murder school, the rich just get ahead by virtue of being rich.
Yeah. Like, yes, he inherited a great sum of wealth, but I think he is also like 16 or something, and he manages a lot of them, so he has some practical knowledge.
Okay. There were some cool things to say about this actor. His name is Akira Ishida. And first of all, I gotta get out the way that he was Joe in Magical Princess Minky Momo.
The cursed anime, which follows us everywhere.
Old favorite of the show. He's also the voice of Wizardmon in Digimon Adventure. That won't mean much to you, but to anybody who's watched Digimon Adventure, that means a hell of a lot.
Is this just a reunion of Digimon?
What, because we had two Digimon voices from different Digimon shows? Oh no, wait, we had three. Okay. Alright. Tentomon and Wizardmon are from the same show. I think we've had more Shenmue voices than we have Digimon ones, though.
I don't know.
Oh, anyway.
Like, I hear Digimon quite a lot.
Well, also, I think we've had more Pokemon voices, and this is another one.
Well, we're not talking about Pokemon right now.
This guy played Faulkner. And he also played your boy Steven.
My boy Steven?
But not in the main anime. He played him in a short.
I guess that counts.
It counts. That's a Steven.
That's a flavor of Steven.
He played Juno in Mega Man Legends. I think that's the villain. I'm unclear. I need to play Mega Man Legends. And he is also the Japanese dub voices of Wesley Crusher, Luke Skywalker, and he plays the Riddler in the new Batman movie.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I love Luke Skywalker part.
In English, he's played by Josh Grell, who played Fumikage in My Hero Academia, Tyrion in Ruby. And he's somebody in Freedom Planet 2, and that is how I found out that Freedom Planet 2 exists.
I was just about to ask.
It's not out yet. It's coming out soon, apparently. I saw that in his credits list, and I was like, Freedom Planet 2? And immediately Googled it.
Did you ever play Freedom Planet 1?
Oh, I played the heck out of it. I just never beat it.
Okay.
I love Freedom Planet. It's really fun. Have you ever played it?
I have it, but I haven't played it.
Oh, it is really fun. Like,
I knew. I'm pretty sure I bought that for you because I was like, this looks like a Sonic.
You did buy that for me, and I was extremely grateful because I wanted it anyway. It started production as a Sonic fan game, and then at some point they were like, we can make money off this if we take all the Sonics out.
Smart.
Yes. Do everybody out there, if you are making a fan game and it's really good and everybody loves it, just file off the serial numbers, put some new characters in there, and sell it. Do it. It's smart.
Turn the blue hedgehog into a green cat named Original the character.
Green Knuckles.
Gruckles!
No, Ken Penders wasn't smart enough to rename him Gruckles. He just calls him Green Knuckles and says he owns it. What's that about?
I don't know, because Gruckles is the best name I've ever come up with.
I'm doing that. I'm creating Gruckles. And then if Ken Penders comes after me and is like, I own Green Knuckles, I'm going to be like, this is my original character, Gruckles.
You can see here where I filed off the serial number.
Here he is with my other original character, Evil Ken Penders. Who's next? Oh, we're almost at the end.
Oh, thank God. I have forgotten we've barely even talked about the show.
It's been an hour and a half and we're just on the credits. Now we're at Kyoko Kirigiri.
Yeah, I love her. She's cool. She's cool beans.
She is a row of question marks.
Yes, she is.
That's it. We don't know what she... I'm assuming that we're going to find out later what her deal is.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're not allowed to know yet.
It's pretty obvious as soon as things start coming into view.
Okay. I was gonna say... if you were going to be like, it's pretty obvious right from the beginning, I was going to be like, yes. Obvious.
No, not from her design or anything, but
Okay.
like once you start talking to her in the game, it's like, oh, I see what this is.
Okay.
I see why we don't know what you are.
She is played by Yoko Hikasa, who played Echo in Final Fantasy... No, not that. She played Echo in Fantasy Online. No, not that either.
Echo the Dolphin?
No, she played Echo in Phantasy Star Online 2. I finally got it out.
And it wasn't even a dolphin.
No, sorry. It's spelled with an H, not two C's.
Well, I can't hear that.
I don't think Sega owned the rights to Echo the Dolphin.
Somebody does.
Somebody has to, but I think the guy who writes the comics wanted to make a reference to Echo at some point, and Sega were like, no, you can't, we don't own the rights.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't
He's
know what
eluded us again.
I think around that time, a lot of the stuff that was made in America, they were actually letting the creators keep the rights, because I know Sega never owned ToeJam and Earl, because they let the creators keep the rights to them.
What a wild time.
I know.
When people owned their intellectual properties?
Oh, because they also let the guy who did the Sonic 1 and 2 soundtracks keep the rights to those, and that's why they never use them.
Oh.
That's why Sonic 3 had a new theme song, because they didn't own it.
Gotcha. But you know what? The menu song when you're selecting your save file,
Yes.
one of the best.
Oh, absolutely. It's in rotation for when my streams are loading. That's one of the songs that plays
Good.
when I'm setting up at the beginning. Yoko Hikasa also played Elisa in Pokemon Masters.
Okay.
The electric gym leader from Unova.
The model.
Yes. She has a really large filmography, but those are the main ones that stood out to me as things that I'd heard of. Her English voice is Caitlin Glass, who played Winry in Full Metal Alchemist, Diancie in the Pokemon movie that Diancie was in. She's Mina in My Hero Academia, and she's both Cammy and Eliza in Street Fighter, and she's Willow in Ruby.
So we have both the Japanese and the English voice actor for Winry.
Yes, and Cammy, I think.
Oh yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And now, finally, we come to the last student, Sayaka Maizono, the idol.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that car?
I did hear that car. It made it sound very dramatic. The idol. Ding! Like a horror sting.
It was a loud car, man. Alright, this is the one I'm most excited about. So much so that I wrote the character's name with like 5 exclamation marks in my notes here.
Who could possibly?
Who could have made me this excited? Do you want to take
Yes.
a guess?
No.
You wouldn't get it, I don't think.
No, I can't think of anything. If it's not Sonic the dang Hedgehog, I don't know who it could be.
It's not even a Sonic character. Sayaka is played by Makiko Omoto, who everybody listening to this show knows as Kirby.
That's adorable.
It's Kirby him dang self.
Trapped in a killing school.
She's done other stuff. She's also the voice of Ness in the Smash Brothers games as well. But honestly, I don't know what I could follow up Kirby with. She's Kirby.
No, that's the highlight of the show.
I get to put some clips of Kirby's voice in here. And I'm happy. I get to put clips of Kirby in an episode about Danganronpa.
We would have found a way.
Her English voice is Monica Rial, who played Bulma in Dragon Ball. She's Niamo, the gym teacher in Azumanga Daioh. She's Stocking in Panty and Stocking. And she's Sakura in the Cardcaptors reboot from a couple years ago.
From Sayaka to Sakura.
Yes.
A love story.
But not this Sakura from this show, a different one. I did it. I beat it.
Is that the end of the show? Are we done?
Do we have to talk about the rest of the show now?
We already talked about the entire show. Oh, wait a second. There's one more voice that you haven't talked about.
I know, but we'll get to that when he shows up. I'm through the weeds. Finally, we're done. We've spent like an hour on this one scene because of all the voice actors.
And nothing happens in this scene.
No.
Absolutely nothing. Well, there's one thing that happens in that we find out that Sayaka and Makoto went to the same school, so they know each other.
The conversation between the two of them was like the most cringeworthy moment in this episode, I think. I don't know if you had the same reaction to it.
Why is that?
It was just one of these like, oh, I didn't think you'd notice a guy like me. I was like, yeah, of course I remember you. And I'm like, stop it.
I did not have that reaction because I played the game And I know what happens.
Well, yeah, I kind of know what happens, but even so, just that moment of him being like,
It's just you were so popular and
really,
I mean, that moment was truly embarrassing for Makoto. He has no excuse.
yes, that's what I mean.
I guess, but I know too much. I know too much.
I know a little bit. I did come across a big spoiler in my research.
So do you know pretty much about the first case then?
I don't know what case it is, but I know what her fate is.
Okay.
I know that she was billed as the main female lead in order to mislead audiences and surprise them by what happens to her. So,
And honestly, I thought it was done extremely well because she's the whole time just super manipulative. That's why it doesn't surprise me that she's like, "Oh, you thought I wouldn't remember you? Of course I did," because she's manipulating him from the beginning.
oh yeah, no, I'm not. Her part in it isn't what
Yeah.
made me cringe. It was his part in it. But yeah, anyway. Actually, on the subject of Makoto, apparently, after hearing Megumi Ogata's performance as Makoto, the writer actually rewrote Makoto to be a bit of a stronger character.
Really?
Yeah, because her performance was really good. She's played a lot of leading characters in anime and stuff. The thing, I think, when it comes to video game protagonists, the characters tend to be less strong. There are exceptions, but like when you think about a lot of video game protagonists, they don't tend to have much in the way of personality.
I was just about to ask if you meant just in the anime though, because in the game, like part of the point of Makoto is that he starts off weak and becomes strong,
Yes,
as is the want of video game characters.
the become strong aspect was added after the voice acting started. I think
Even in the game?
even in the game. Yes.
Okay.
I think originally the point of Makoto was just fully to be a stand-in for the player and not really to have any personality of his own. And that was changed once the voice actors were brought in. From
well,
my
good
understanding.
for her. Because I like Makoto. He becomes an interesting character.
Yeah, good. I always think it's more interesting when a character you're playing as is a character in their own right instead of just
Right,
being
and not just a grim facsimile that you're supposed to put your face on.
Yeah, I understand the appeal of that, but it's never been my appeal. And I think it comes a lot from people who play video games for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because I read once before that there are 3 different reasons that people play video games. There are the people who want to be challenged. There are the people who want to socialize. And there are the people who want to experience a story. And I'm thoroughly in that third group.
I'm split between the first and the third.
Yeah, but I can see how people who are in those first 2 groups would prefer a character they can just project themselves onto. But I very much prefer a character whose story I'm experiencing rather than me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's why, even though there's a lot of games where you get to create your own character, and I prefer it when even in those ones the character still has a personality. Like, Mass Effect is a good example, because although you shape Shepard's personality, Shepard still has a personality.
Yeah, Shepard is fully voice acted, and you can't very specifically control everything about them.
Yeah. You have options, but they're options.
But you just pick which flavor of sass your femshep is.
Exactly. You just pick how many times you want to punch that reporter.
All the times. Every single game.
Anyway, the characters finally start actually trying to figure out what's going on, like normal people. And they realize that none of them have their cell phones.
Yeah. Which I couldn't remember if that was a detail in the game. just because I was like, did cell phones even exist 500 years ago when this game came
It
out?
was 2010. We had cell phones in 2010.
500 years ago.
It's not like it's 2001 and Phoenix Wright has his old Nokia.
I honestly couldn't remember when this game came out. I thought it was a lot older than it was.
I really thought that the Japanese version came out a long time before we got it, but apparently not. I guess Phoenix Wright paved the way for us to get games like this over here by then.
For us to get another flavor of Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, basically.
Good, because I want to eat them all. I want one of those little sample spoons. I'm going to dip it into every Phoenix Wright type game.
Oh, me too. But first I'm going to let you try them and tell me which ones are good.
And then 10 years later, you'll play them. Right after you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Madoka.
Yeah. Exactly those things that you said. I still haven't even watched my Nichijou box set that I got at Christmas.
What is wrong with you? What are you doing with your life?
God, I'm doing nothing. Doing this show.
We're just watching cartoons and writing notes about them.
Well, that's always been the dream.
Well, yes and no. Ideally, in the dream, we get money for it.
Yeah. Patreon.com/Super Breakfast Friends Club.
To make our dream come true.
This is where Monokuma shows up.
I love Monokuma.
I know you
I have a Monokuma.
I was just going to say that. Yes. In the dub, Monokuma says,
No, I am not a high-tech Build-A-Bear reject.
He does not say that in the Japanese version, but
No, he does not.
I thought I should highlight it because I thought it was quite funny.
The dub, as I mentioned to you before off the camera, especially in Danganronpa 3, is kind of notoriously good bad because they take a lot of liberties like that to just make some wild and wacky lines.
Yeah, there was a lot of it. I didn't because I feel like in the Japanese version, who's the writer girl? I can't remember. Toko. When Toko is first looked at by Makoto, in the Japanese version, she's just kind of like, why is he looking at me? Or something like that. But in the dub, she says,
He's undressing me with his eyes!
Which doesn't sound too far off from how she was in the game.
okay.
She has a lot of strange lines.
Okay.
But that's what makes her so fun.
Monokuma is played by Nobuyo Oyama, who is best known as the voice of Doraemon.
Okay.
She is currently 88 years old.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah, but she has retired since doing this. She is no longer the voice of Monokuma.
Dang.
She retired in 2015 after it was revealed that she was living with dementia, which is sad. But she has a very long history with the Doraemon series, and that's a character. Like, I feel like that's one of those characters who I knew for decades before I knew who it was, because you just see him around.
Mm-hmm.
Especially being on the internet. I saw Doraemon all over the place without knowing who it was.
I didn't know who he was, I didn't know what he was, but I could point him out in a lineup.
It's him. He's the one who did it.
He's the Doraemon.
In English, Monokuma is played by Greg Ayres. I think that's how you pronounce that. But I thought it was funny. This is the only character who has a different, like, gender voice between the two versions.
That is interesting, yeah.
Greg Ayres is known for playing Goldo in Dragon Ball and Chai in the Shenmue anime. Chai is, well, you'll see him eventually. We'll get to Shenmue.
I know we're not talking about the game voice actors, but I do really like the English Monokuma voice.
Is it similar? Oh, I guess you didn't hear the dub voice in this, did you?
I've heard it before, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it's not as, like, gravelly high pitched. It's super annoying high pitched, but I think it fits the character really well.
Okay. So Monokuma tells them that they're going to be staying in this school forever.
Yeah, I thought this part was weird because he didn't give them any of the rules of the killing game, because there are rules. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure there are rules.
What are the
Now I'm
rules?
questioning myself because I'm like, I've played these games so much, but then I remember that rules get added like as you play, depending on things that happen in the story. Like, oh no, never mind, you guys can't do this anymore.
Okay. The only rule we're told about here is that they're not allowed to hurt Monokuma.
Yeah, the principal.
Yeah. That's right, because he
Um,
introduces himself as the principal.
yes, he makes that very clear. He is the principal of Hope's Peak High School. Because there are rules to the killing game, but I'm wondering if he tells you then or if he waits until the actual class trial, because there's no constraint on how you kill somebody. There is a rule on how many people you're allowed to kill, like at a time, and I can't remember if they talk about that like at first or if that's added later when somebody asks.
So he explains to them that they can only leave if they commit murder.
Yeah.
If they're willing to kill somebody.
But the thing is, they have to get away with the murder.
That's the thing. Yeah, that isn't mentioned here. I was going to ask you about that because I know that there are trials and stuff and executions. So I assumed that meant that they had to not only kill somebody but also do it in a way that nobody could tell it was them.
Yeah.
And that they like get away with it through the trial.
Yes. And if they do manage to get away with murder, then everybody else dies and they escape. But if they are correctly found guilty, then they die and everybody else gets to keep living their happy school life.
I assume that gets more explained in the next episode then, because it sure isn't
I
explained here.
guess. No, maybe they were like, it's the first episode. We don't have time. Let's just get to it when a class trial starts.
Yeah, maybe they'll explain it like once somebody dies. It does also seem like, because he does add something later, once he realizes none of them are killing each other.
Yes. Motives get added throughout the series.
Okay.
So this is the first one, but for every, I guess not for every, but there are motives introduced periodically to get people to kill.
Right. So Mondo threatens Monokuma, and Monokuma then explodes, but with a long warning. There's a lot of beeping first to give Mondo a chance to throw Monokuma away.
Mondo wasn't going to, but Kyoko had to be like, yo, just throw it. He's gonna blow up.
Yeah, Mondo's just like, why is it beeping? This is weird.
To be fair, I would probably be that Mondo.
Yeah, Monokuma explodes and is immediately replaced by a new Monokuma.
Yes, you quickly learn that there are infinity monos Kuma.
And then we get the opening sequence. Here we are, 2 hours into our recording.
It plays the theme, and I really love the Danganronpa theme song.
So is this
the
same?
Good.
This song is from the game too?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I really liked the opening.
It's very good.
I really liked the art that we see in it. It shows...
I don't think the art is the exact ones from the game, but it's very reminiscent of the style of like the character portraits.
I was gonna say that, yeah. It looked, from the screenshots I've seen and stuff, it looked like what I've seen from the game. It shows each character and there are little kind of targets moving across them. What I was wondering is if this opening will be updated each time somebody dies.
Like in the class trial, when if somebody dies, they just put a portrait of them with an X through it in their spot.
Oh, really? Yeah, something like that. That I wouldn't be surprised.
One thing I do know gets updated at the end of the episode when it shows you how many students are remaining. That'll change.
Did it? I don't even remember it showing that.
Yeah, it's just a scene, like a still scene that has.
Oh, over the credits?
No,
Oh.
like before the credits.
I must have looked away. I don't remember seeing it. Alright. I've written Ogami can't punch out.
What?
I don't know. I don't know what that meant. Who's Ogami? Oh, that's Sakura.
Yeah, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I remember now. Sakura was trying to punch her way out.
Oh.
Through the...
Oh, yeah. She just, like, went to the side of the gym or something and punched it, and you see, like, a shockwave shoot through.
Yeah. And that wasn't working. And they're all being given...
Wild.
They're all being given little iPhones that have info about all the students.
Student handbook.
Student handbook, that's it. It's a little tablet.
That's in the game.
Okay, I thought
Everybody
it probably
has
was.
a student handbook, and it has your map and everything in it, and people's profiles.
Yeah, it's a little Pokédex of students.
And that also has the rules in them. And when they get added, it gets updated.
So it's basically your UI?
Yes, that is what it is. That is literally like the pause screen.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Byakuga's worried already that someone's thinking of murdering.
Yes, he wants to go investigate alone because he doesn't trust anybody around him.
Yeah. And Mondo immediately gets in a fight with Makoto, and Makoto gets knocked out.
He gets punched into next week.
Yeah, and he just wakes up in his room with Sayaka watching over him.
Like a creep.
Yeah. They did this whole scene, they were very much positioning her as the Maya to his Phoenix Wright.
Yes.
And I know that's not how it plays out.
No.
But that's what they wanted us to think.
Yeah, in every single game, they're like, oh, look, this is your friend who's going to help you on all of your journeys. And then something happens. It's not always the same, but that's never the person that you wind up being friends with.
Okay. Yeah, so they go to... I interpreted it as a dinner table, but it's not. They're not having dinner.
Well, it's the cafeteria table.
Okay, but they're just having a meeting. I thought they'd gone for, like, a meal, but there's no food there. I didn't realize that until afterwards.
Not in that scene, but they make the cafeteria their, like, morning meeting point.
Okay. Mondo apologizes for knocking him out. I did like how quickly they were like, they just made up over that whole fight.
Sorry, I got really angry and punched you for no reason.
And you had to be dragged to your room to recover.
Sakura!
We get shown a map of the school, and we get a little montage of all the students looking for a way out.
Yeah, and we find out that they are limited to just investigating the first floor.
Yes, there's no way up to the second floor. I assume the second floor opens up later?
More of the school opens up with the more people that die.
Okay.
So after the first murder, then they get to go to the second floor.
They have nice bedrooms. They have so much food. Like, all of those vegetables that were just sitting out, they're gonna go bad before they eat them all.
But they're gonna get more.
Yeah, I know. But it just seemed wasteful to just lay them all out like that.
Well, somebody will eat them. They're gonna get eaten. Don't think about the food waste.
Okay.
It's a video game. Don't think about the food waste.
I did like the extra detail that Monokuma just appeared to explain the fridge and then wandered off.
That happens in the game all the time.
In the game, do you see it happen? Because we didn't see it happen in the show. We're just told that it happened.
A couple times, but we do also see it happen.
Okay. Chihiro tells us that it happened, but we don't actually see Monokuma here.
No, but in a split second, he does just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah. Celestia thinks that they should adapt and just get used to it, I guess.
Yeah, like, we don't have to kill anyone. We don't have to break out. Let's just live here.
Yeah. But she says that no one should leave their room at night, but it's just like an honor system, so I'm like, what's the point of this?
Yeah. Some people don't obey it, as you later find out.
Yeah, of course. I would never have expected everybody to.
But you know who does obey it? Makoto. So every night, your butt is in bed.
We're told that they spent the next several days searching for an escape, but couldn't find one.
Yes.
It just kind of skips over those days. Does that happen in the game, or do you play through those days?
You have free time, so you can go hang out with your friends and learn more about them, but time does pass pretty quickly.
Okay. Aoi thinks the police will come. She's not worried because she thinks the police are going to come and find them.
Since they've been missing for 3 whole days.
Yes. Monokuma laughs at the idea that the police will come, but he doesn't really offer a reason that they won't.
You'll find out.
Okay.
To answer that question now ruins a lot of the intrigue and suspense for the late game.
Okay, alright. So he's right that the police won't come, but
Yes, he's correct.
we don't know why yet. Okay. He doesn't understand why nobody's killed anybody yet. He's very confused about it.
I've put you all here in this building and told you to kill, and no one has done it?
But then he says that he realized it's because he didn't prepare a motive for them.
Which is correct.
So
So
now...
he tells them all to go to the audiovisual room.
Yes, and he gives them each a DVD to watch with their name written on it. We only get to see Makoto's one.
Yeah, I think in the game, I don't remember if it's agreed on or everybody is just secretive about what's on their tapes. So we only get to see his and one other, I think. Maybe 2 others throughout the game.
Okay. It's a video from his family, who are talking about how proud they are of him for getting into the special school. What is it? It's his mom, his dad, and a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the video ends, it switches to an image of the same room they were sitting in, which I assume is their living room. But it's now all destroyed.
And that's just kind of the end.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in the game it had like an ominous Monokuma voiceover, like kind of walking you through what you're looking at.
Okay. What are we looking at?
You're just gonna have to play the game and find out.
Oh, I guess so. Does it tell you at this point in the game, though?
No.
Okay.
Nobody. I guess I can't say that. Some people don't understand everything that is on their tape. I mean, they don't understand. Like Makoto doesn't understand what has happened to his family.
Yes.
Because,
okay, good, because I didn't either.
Yeah. There's a lot of information that is kept from the students.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. We don't get to see what was on Sayaka's tape, but she freaks the fuck out about it.
She sure does.
She just makes a run for it.
She starts screaming. She backs away from the monitor. She runs out of the AV room.
Yeah. And Makoto runs after her, catches her, and promises that they'll get out somehow. And then she starts crying and buries her face in his chest. I thought it was weird that he smiles at that point.
That was a little weird, yeah.
Yeah.
This girl is emotionally vulnerable and relying on me. Oh, yeah.
But then he seems to remember the situation he's in, and his face gets serious again.
At some point, they ask what Monokuma wants in all this, and his answer is despair.
Yes, he actually says that just before Sayaka runs from the AV room. I forgot about that. Yes, he just wants their despair, he says. It's very ominous.
Very ominous.
And that's the end of the episode. There really wasn't that much to talk about once the cast list was done with, actually, was there?
There really wasn't. That was kind of my worry. Because I don't have a whole lot of notes for this, but I could talk about that game for hours.
Yeah, no, it really is just mostly cast list in my notes as well. Over the credits, we get a slow zoom out of Makoto smiling, sitting in an empty classroom. assume that this shot is going to be added to over the course of the series because it's very empty and strange.
Yes, indeed. I don't know what to make of that scene, except I loved the song.
I wrote down the final line of the song. There is no cure for stupidity. Lol. I was really taken aback by that lol in the in the song. It was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
But yes, I have written down my thoughts on this first episode. I thought it was a pretty boring first episode.
I agree. If I had just seen the first episode instead of playing the game, I don't know how interested I would be in watching the rest.
Yes, I don't know if I would have been back. What's weird about this episode is that it manages to somehow feel both too rushed and too uneventful.
Yes.
And I don't know how they managed that, but they pulled it off.
When half of your episode is just introducing your giant ensemble cast, it's kind of hard to work around that.
Yes. And that's the thing, like, I do think that what they did with this episode was necessary setup for the series.
Yeah.
But maybe the problem is just that this game really doesn't work for animation. Maybe the problem is that it's designed to be a game, and it doesn't translate that well to a TV show.
When you think about it, like the broad strokes work because it's Battle Royale, the anime.
Yes.
But the thing that makes Danganronpa so good is the character interactions and the friendships you form and solving the mystery yourself.
I do wonder if maybe it would have been better served to have all the characters be there from the beginning, but to introduce them more slowly over time.
I was thinking the same thing.
So,
But if they're working with like a limited number of episodes, then some of those people are gonna die real quick.
That's true. But maybe this prologue episode would have been best served just spending the time focusing on the characters who will die next episode.
True.
And then next episode they could have brought the characters who will die in the episode after that to the forefront. Then again, maybe it would start to get too obvious who's gonna die if you did it that way.
They're putting a whole lot of time on this person. I wonder what could happen. It's like when somebody gets kicked off of a reality show, so that whole episode is highlighting them.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of what this is, but without the reality part. But yeah, I like the characters. I like the setup. Don't think this show did it justice too well, personally.
I think that is a common complaint.
I think, once again, as we said with Phoenix Wright, this first episode is fine because I feel like nothing is spoiled here. This is just the prologue.
Mm-hmm.
And, nobody's died yet. You could play this at the start of the game before the gameplay starts, and because there's no spoilers here in this episode, so it has that over Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
Because the first episode of Phoenix Wright really ruins that. I know it's only the tutorial case, but it still, gives you all the solutions.
Yeah.
Takes away your ability to work it out.
Even if you already know who the killer is, it's the little mysteries along the way that you have to solve.
Yeah,
that they've taken from you.
It's the stuff you need to know to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
This show doesn't really take anything from you. I feel like you could watch this episode and then you could go and play the game and you've lost nothing.
Yeah. It's literally just a faster retelling of the first hour or two of the game.
Yes. Speaking of which, Makoto's Japanese voice actress said, when asked about this show, she said that she felt the show was too trimmed.
Yep.
There was too much missing from it compared to the game.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But like you said, it's not really the kind of game that works as an anime.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why for the Danganronpa 3 show, they decided to make it kind of a side story to the game rather than an adaptation of it.
Danganronpa 3 has its own issues, but spoiling the game is not one of them. Well, no.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll look at that some other time. So.
Yeah. Because half of Danganronpa 3 is about what happens between Danganronpa 1 and 2. Or, I guess, does it technically start before 1? I guess it does, yeah. But it kind of bridges the gap in the narrative.
Okay.
So, it does yeah, it does. It does spoil stuff. Never mind.
But it's different. So the thing with shows like this, and I said this about Phoenix Wright as well, is that I don't really understand who this show is for.
Right.
Because if you've played the game, you've seen all this already. If you haven't played the game, this show will ruin it. Even if this first episode didn't spoil anything, if we continued into episode 2, I'm sure it would immediately.
Yes, it is a retelling of the game, so we get to see who and how people die.
And I guess there are people out there who want that, who just want to see the same story again. In fact, I was looking at a thread about the new Sonic Netflix show that's coming out, and I saw people who were asking for it to just be a straight retelling of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. And I'm like, why do you want that? Go and play Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. They're out there.
I guess because it consolidates something that could otherwise take a long time. Like, let me pull up my Steam and
To
see
see
how
how
many
long-
hours
Okay,
put
yeah.
into these games.
If you're looking for a faster way to experience the story, then I guess I understand that.
Okay, let's see. Bloop, 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 bloop. Danganronpa V3, Killing Harmony, 56 hours on record.
Okay.
Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, 48 hours on record. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, 47 hours on record.
And you only played each one once?
I only played Danganronpa V3 once. I think I started the first game again a little bit, but I didn't get super far.
Okay.
Because I was trying to unlock specific friendship stuff that can only be done throughout the story. Danganronpa 2, I don't think I restarted that one at all. Like, once you beat the games, it unlocks these cute little school life mini games, and I put a little bit of time into those, so it's not strictly on playing through the story, but at least 40 hours of it was.
Right. You said that you have a time limit, right, when you're doing stuff.
In the class trial, when you're listening to the debates, which are fully voice acted, and not the entire debate. Like, there's a lot of the debate that's done at your own pace, but there's specific parts where it's, I almost said live action, real time, and that's when you have to, like, parts of their testimony are coming up on the screen and they'll be highlighted, and you have to take your evidence bullet and shoot it at the right part.
Okay. Well, I meant the more the like when you're just walking around talking to people.
Oh no, that's not. That's
okay.
Like, time passes, but it's not in real time.
But
like,
can
you have free time.
When you're like befriending different characters, can you fully befriend everyone in one playthrough, or do you have to pick and choose?
You have to you only get a certain amount of things, so you can't befriend everybody in one playthrough, no. But there is a way. The mini games that unlock after do let you go through and complete those friendship things without having to go through the story. However, in Danganronpa 1, I'm not going to say what or why because it's a big spoiler, but there is one person that you can only get through playing the game.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, are we about done?
I guess.
It
That
really-
was the show.
Really feels like we haven't said much beyond
We
who all the
haven't.
voice actors were, but I guess there just wasn't that much to say.
Nope. Which, like you said, feels like a lot and nothing at the same time, and it's kind of wild.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
We're sorry we couldn't spoil everything about Danganronpa for you.
We'll possibly come back to this show. I don't know. Are there any characters who weren't introduced in this episode?
That's a spoiler.
Oh yeah, I guess it would be, wouldn't it? I feel like usually I'm like, we'll come back to this show if there are more different characters introduced, but at this point I'm like, I don't even know if we should come back to this specific show.
No.
We'll come back to the other Danganronpa show, at least.
Yeah. Because to come back to this one, it would be near the end of the series, and it would spoil almost everything.
Okay. Well, we could still come back. We could come back to some other interesting episodes of this one, at least, maybe. We'll see.
Can we though? Because it would be a big fat spoiler.
If we do a part 2, if you watched all of part 1 and you haven't watched, and you haven't played the game, if we do a part 2 of this and you want to watch it, just remember that there's going to be full of spoilers, and you can't blame us for that. You were pre-warned.
I'm very protective of everybody at large when it comes to spoilers for this series, just because I genuinely love it, and I think if you want to play it, that you should.
That's how I am with Ace Attorney as well, so I understand. You can find us on Spotify or iTunes or Google Podcasts or YouTube at Super Breakfast Friends Club.
.org.com
And Patreon at the same place, where I've been putting outtakes from the show, like perhaps the long conversation that I just cut from before I started saying this sentence.
No one's gonna want to listen to that.
Well,
unless they do, and they pay money for it.
Yeah, go ahead. See if we care. We do, greatly. Do you have anything to add?
2 plus 2.
That's me and you.
No, it's not.
We're
That's
each
like...
2 people.
No, we are one half of one person. Together we make one brain.
Oh no.
We are not a double brain as some might believe. We're just the one.
When we go on public transport, they make us share a seat.
That's okay, I'm little.
You can go in the carry-on space.
Just tuck me under the chair.
I'm gonna put you in the overhead compartment. You'll be happier in there.
I will, it's dark and quiet.
Like and subscribe.
And maybe we'll stop.
We'll never stop. You can't destroy us.
We're on the internet now. We belong to the tubes.
Even if we delete all our episodes, you'll always find us on archive.com.
Deep in its plumbing, haunting.
Oh, join me on Wednesday where I'm gonna be playing this game on my Twitch channel, Skull Pirate Mike. Bye.
I hate it.
I don't know if we said all the things we're supposed to say at the beginning of the show. I don't remember.
What are the things that we're supposed to say?
We say hello. We've
done that.
We say the name of the show.
We've done that.
I say my name and you say something else.
We've done that.
Okay, I guess we're good.
We haven't said the name of the show that we're watching.
That's okay. The opening. No, the opening doesn't do that.